Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for this week's weekly Wednesday presentation. It's called All About the Presence. The presentation is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Otsego County Office for the Aging and New York Connect's Facebook page and our county website. I ask that everyone keep your videos turned off and that you remain muted unless you have a question. Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions as we move through the presentation. You can also use the chat feature if you prefer, and I will ask the questions for you. My name is Alicia Chase. I'm Otsego County's long-term care coordinator. I supervise the Otsego County New York Connects program, and for those not familiar, New York Connects is the connection for long-term services and support. While my office is under Office for the Aging, we are unique that we are able to help anyone of any age who is looking for help navigating the complicated long-term care system. We can help friends, family, caregivers, and clients who are looking for information and assistance, referrals, application assistance, and more. Any questions that you have on the long-term care system, we can assist. If you're unsure, please don't hesitate to reach out. We do have a New York Connects partner with the Independent Living Center. My contact can be found in the chat, and for those who are calling in by phone, you can reach us at Office for the Aging, 607-547-4232. At this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Helios Care for our presentation.
Okay, so you can see me okay, and you see my presentation, yes?
We can see you, we can't see the presentation.
Oh, okay. So, I gotta, hold on one second. I'm gonna just share my screen.
There we go.
Okay, is that better?
Now we can see it. Yep.
Okay, so my name is Soraya Mostert. I'm a social worker with Helios Care. I work with people in hospice and palliative care. So I've been doing this work for about 11 years now, and I work with patients, I work with families, caregivers. We collaborate with agencies locally to help people get resources, and I also work with people in the medical profession in the hospital and nursing homes. So we're kind of all over. But today's topic is all about presence and how to just be more present when we're working with people. And people are going through really hard times. You know, there's people have chronic long-term illnesses, chronic problems. They're facing the loss of a loved one, their stresses and anxieties. Patients feel like they're a burden. So this topic of presence is how we can really be a comfort to the people that we're working with, either professionally or in our personal life. So the idea is that everybody can use this. This is kind of how we show up in life. And so whether you're in any type of role, whether you are a caregiver or you're helping someone reach out for help, or you're just a parent and a working mom, or your spouse, this is the concept of presence is how we can be just a better version of ourselves. So being more present in our relationships helps us kind of tune in and support people that we work with, and can just be a really great self-help tool. So we hear a lot nowadays about meditation and being mindful and just being more intuitive in what we do each day. This concept of presence works very well with that. So the idea that we're going to talk about is being more in the moment with people, and that can help reduce our own stress because we're going to be taking care of ourselves. And then when we're feeling divided all the time, whether working or we're a caregiver and we have just so many things going on, the idea of presence is that we're going to just be more grounded in what we're doing in the moment of that. And so we're giving better care and attention when we're doing the things that we're doing. So this will reduce our own guilt, our own stress. It increases connection with people and helps the people that we're working with feel like they're less of a burden because we're really part of their lives and we're really connecting with them. So many people feel that they, like if we're a caregiver, I hear it time and again that the caregivers are so busy, they're doing so many different things. And then that leaves the person feeling like they're a burden. And that's a really hard thing because their illness is not getting better. Their illness is getting worse. So the demands of caring for them increase, and that can make them even feel more lost in that process. So as a person in your life, just think as we talk about this today, how you can use this tool just to be a better version of yourself. So what does this idea of presence mean? The idea is that we're kind of more, the definition is being stationed in place, being attending to somebody, being a caring for someone, or being a companion to somebody. So here's another great way of putting it. Presence is when you're no longer waiting for the next moment, believing that that next moment would be more fulfilling than this one. So kind of stationing in place, staying in that moment. There was a great quote by this man, John Tarrant, who was a poet and Zen teacher, and he said, "Attention is the most basic form of love. Through it, we bless and are blessed." So what does that mean? That means that right now, our presence with people is going to strengthen our connections and strengthen our love. So we all need that, right? Why not have more of that in our life? People are very stressed. And I think about the idea of, like, I have 2 little kids. So I'll find that when my toddler or my son comes up, I'll be washing dishes in the sink and I'll have 3 dishes left, right? And he comes up and he says, "I want to just give you a hug." And you're thinking in your head, "I just have 3 dishes left. Just a minute," we say. And we kind of shoo them away. Say, "Just a minute, let me finish this and I'll get to you." But sometimes that moment just passes and they're off doing their other things. When we use this concept of presence, we're going to shut the water off, dry our hands, just give them a quick hug, look right in their eyes when we do this. And it compels us to just pause, just for that moment. And if you think about it, this is not a long time. This is, you dry your hands, you give them a hug, you go back to it, because that's all they needed for that moment. Or if I think about how long it takes us to eat a meal, right? We sit down to dinner and maybe it takes us 10, 15 minutes to eat. So can we take that time and just put our phones away for that time? Just 10 minutes, that's it. We're not talking about carving more time out of your life to do meditation or some other practice. We're talking about taking the time that we actually have in our life and being more present in that moment. So that's the attention that we're giving. Give your full attention. Connect to the people that we're with. This isn't about speeches or words or things that we have to do. Just be more there. So how do you do that? The idea would be just kind of what we're talking about, staying in that moment, being conscious of what we're feeling. So I hear with patients, they'll say, you say, "What do you need?" Right? And they say, "Oh, I'm fine. And, maybe their caregiver gives them a drink or they're attending to their basic daily needs. Well, what do they crave? They crave when we sit by their bedside and we just hold their hand. They want more time when we just tell stories, when we look at photo albums or memories. That's what they need. Yes, there's so much busyness that goes into caring for somebody that we love. But when we look back on that time, I work with many people that have lost loved ones in death, and the caregivers will tell me, "I want more time of that. I wish I could sit with them again. I wish I could talk to them. I wish I had their company." They're not saying, "Oh, I wish I mopped the floor one more time. I wish I did the grocery shopping again." They just want that time and that moment to moment interaction. So when we take the time to just sit and take 5 minutes to hold someone's hand or tell them a story or listen to them when they want to share something from the past, that's how we are present in that moment. We haven't taken away from the day because we still get everything done. It's more just being kind of present when we are doing the things that we're doing. So here's an example of how cool this is. There was several studies on this, and you can Google it and you can read all about it. But there was a randomized control study done on 120 adult post-operative patients that were admitted to the hospital for surgery. And there was a couple studies that did this. One was 2,000 patients, but the one that I'm referring to, the patient perceived that the provider was present at their bedside longer when the provider sat down and talked to them face to face, even though the actual time that the physician spent at the bedside didn't change very significantly much at all, whether he sat or stood up to talk to them. So finding a chair in a hospital room is hit or miss, right? I am in and out of the hospital and nursing homes, and there's never chairs, or there might be one occasionally. But what they did in this study was they put a folding chair up in each room, so the provider had the option to sit whenever he went in to talk to a patient about their condition. And the patient reported, when the provider sat down and talked to them, the patient reported a more positive interaction with the physician and a better understanding of their condition overall. And then that led to a positive experience during their inpatient stay. So here's the key. The provider didn't spend more time in the room. The time was the same. Actually, the person perceived the time to be greater than it actually was. But why was that? Why did this work? It was because that when the provider sat down, he conveyed the sense that he cared about the patient and he was present with them. And that alone improved the experience. So take this into our lives, right? Take this example. Whether if you are a provider, try to sit down. You'll improve the person's experience just by sitting down and talking to them when you have your interactions and conversations. And then in our regular life, and if you're a mom, if you're a parent, if you're a spouse, if you're, taking care of your own parents, whatever example you have, when you're tuning in more to the people that you love, you're going to just want to spend a little time with them. Sit down when you talk to them, look into their eyes, be less distracted. And this can really help them feel more connected to you, and then you actually feel better too. So how can we be more present in our relationships and in our work? Number one, obviously, would be just minimize distractions. So we want to give our undivided attention to the people that we're interacting with. And be mindful that this is just kind of have our minds tuned in. My mom used to always tell me to just, whatever you're doing, just focus on what that is. So if you're at work, just stay at work. Don't be worried about things going on at home or what you have to do later or what's happening on the weekend. Just focus on your work that day. And then when you're home, focus at home. Just be with your people and do what you need to do. And that will help us feel more engaged in what we're doing. And in our relationships, when we're paying more attention to our emotions, you'll see what comes up. Because for myself, when I'm working with patient or family, I might know that I have 3 other people that I need to connect with that day. And yet this person is going on and on about some story of something. It can be easy to just want to rush through that, to kind of cut it short, or just be distracted in our mind and not fully listening. People can tell if you're fully listening to them and if you're paying attention. So take a deep breath, kind of just stay with them. And when we do that, when we tune in, people sometimes even shorten it because they can see how that we're engaged, and then they don't need more attention because they've got it. They've had that time with us. And remember, we're not saying add more time to your day. We're just saying be more present with what you're doing each day. So when be aware of our emotions, just be in the moment. Just take that little bit of time to look at the person when we're talking to them. These are ways that we can show up and be more present in our engagements with people. So what about the pandemic? Is that an excuse to be less present? Not really, not at all, because we have technology and that's kind of our ally here. So text somebody, make a phone call, send them a voice memo, a drive-by wave or poster, leaving a note on someone's car window. That can totally make their day when we do things like that. A handwritten card is a rarity nowadays. So when we offer that to somebody, it can really mean a lot to them. These things convey that we care, that we haven't forgotten our loved one, that we're there for them. And time slips by. You could say, oh, I texted them a while ago, but I have no idea how long ago that was. And you look at your phone and that was like 2 months ago or 4 months ago. So whether it's a relative, a coworker, a friend, someone in our family, try to just put a reminder on your phone to say, if this is somebody that you want to connect with a little bit more or help, or if you know they're going through something difficult, try to reach out and take that initiative more often than not, because it really will matter to them. One idea about kind of providing direct support to somebody, this is when you're kind of more of a caregiver or a family member, the idea of presence is about just sitting there and being there. This is not about things that we need to say. Sometimes we often say the wrong things that don't actually become very helpful to the person. So that it's hard to stop talking and to just sit there, but people find a lot of comfort in that. And they will say, yesterday I saw a patient. Now this patient is nonverbal. They are not able to speak or communicate to us. And I asked her husband how she was doing, and we were talking for a while. And we were talking about this is a hospice patient. We were talking about our supports. And he said, you know, it's really good that you're here. And I said, why is that? And he said, well, she can't say anything, but she can feel your support just because you show up, because you're there sitting with her. And he could feel that she had a better day when our staff came in to see her than on a day that they didn't. And this is a lady that has never spoken a single word to me, right? Or to our nurses or to our aides. And yet the fact that we show up and we're there with her has meant he can see that it has meant something to her. So sitting with somebody can be so valuable and really important. We don't have to respond with things that, you know, they go on and on. Just sit there and listen, and kind of hold back if they're rattling on about something they're complaining about. Just listen, show kindness. Another thing for caregivers is try to delegate if you can. There's a lot of things that go into being a caregiver, but when we delegate some of the smaller tasks, anyone can pick up stamps from the post office. Anyone can grab groceries from the store. Anybody can, you know, run an errand or two. But not everybody can pay the bills, communicate with the doctors about this patient, you know, fill out applications for resources or needs. Those are the more complicated things. As a caregiver, if you're stretched for time, if you're overwhelmed and busy, try to delegate some of those simpler tasks to others that are willing and able to help, so that you can focus on the bigger tasks, and that then leaves you with time that you can spend with your loved one. So if you can do that, then you're more present with them, and then everything still gets done. So here's an example of some dialogue that you can say when you're reaching out to somebody that is ill or facing a serious illness, and you're like, I have no idea what to say to this person. A simple thing to say is, I just want to check in with you, let you know I'm thinking about you. How's everything going? Just open-ended, just checking in. You'd be surprised what you get back. These are two extremes. On the one hand, you'll get, we're fine, everything's okay. And then sometimes people just tell you so much that you're like, man, I have no idea what to do with this, because they just seem so swamped, and you know that they're struggling, and you're not sure like what role you should take on with them. So we're going to go through this a little bit of how to respond to each option. Response to option A can be when someone says, I'm having a bad day, but we're really fine. Well, you can say, you know, I know things must be really tough, and that's hard to let on and tell others about. I can't take away what's this illness, but I'm here if you want to talk. And I want you to know that sometimes having the little things taken care of by someone else can free you up and give you the space to take care of some of the things that we can't. So I'd love to drop a meal off to you on Thursday. And what this is doing is it's offering a specific time. You're offering something tangible that can be done, and you've taken initiative. so many people struggle to ask for help and they don't even know what to ask for. But you know they're struggling. And if they are struggling, then reaching out with something tangible can be the beginning of supporting them more. So the fact that you would drop off a meal, that's not going to change everything overnight. But one thing, it took that one thing off their list for that day. And it gave them the sense that they're not alone in this, that they have somebody that's an ally, a little support in what they're facing. So doing that, and it can also usually be the first step in getting to help them more. So sometimes you need to just kind of get in the door a little bit when you're trying to help somebody with a serious illness. So finding out what they need, whether that's something like picking up doing errands or something like that, or just saying, you know what, why don't I call, I'll talk to them on the phone, your loved one, for a little while, you go take a nap when I'm doing that. I'm going to just spend half an hour and I'll just talk to them on the phone or FaceTime them. That kind of tangible support can mean so much, because for a caregiver, they have a lot that they're juggling and trying to get done. And just having just understanding that someone's with their loved one can give them the free time that they need to get other things done. So that's just one response. If somebody is kind of reluctant to ask for help, but that you know that they need it. So now let's say on the opposite end, someone gives you a whole list of things of what's going wrong and what they need, and they just go on and on and on, and you have no idea what to say. So one response can be, it sounds like this is really tough right now. I wish I could fix it all for you, but I can't. So what I can do, I can pick up groceries for you, or I can bring you a meal on Thursday. When I drop off the meal, I'll pick up your mail, walk it to your door. I can bring your garbage out to the curb. I'll also text you the number to Office of the Aging, because they have a lot of great resources that can help. So be specific, because what this will do, the goal is to acknowledge their challenges, provide direct support that's reasonable, something within your limits. Don't offer something you can't do. Give them services that could help fill the gap, and they will feel really heard, and they'll feel like they're going to get help. And that can be just the start of getting them more support as time goes on. So this is the last slide, but I just want to say, these are the things to do to how to be more present with someone when they're coping with an illness. Number one, the message of today is just be there. Don't actually say anything. Just give them a hug instead of saying something. But if you do feel the need for words, or if you want to text somebody, these are a list of a few things that you can say that can really help them feel understood, valued, and heard. You can say, I'm sorry you're going through this. I wish I had the right words, but I just wanted you to know that I care. You can say, I don't know how you feel, but I'm here to help you if I can. I'm just a phone call away, or we're just a phone call away. We all need help in times like this. That one is really nice, because it normalizes that they're not crazy for needing help, that it's okay that they're struggling. When these struggles that people are facing are very real, and losses last a long time, and right now we're facing many losses on many different fronts. Even if it's not the loss of a loved one, it can be the loss of social support, of contact with people, of freedoms, of travel, of all the things that we wish we could do and can't do right now. So there's no immediate fix to that. So the idea of presence is saying, I'm just going to be with you on that journey and share it with you. There's no way to go back in time to undo the past, or even to fix the outcome of whatever is going to happen with that person. So all we can do is just join with them, just walk this with them. And that conveys that you care, that you're there to help them, and that they're not alone. And that is a beautiful thing to give to somebody. So whether it's professionally or personally, when we show up and are a little bit more present in our day-to-day life, we feel good about that, but it's also a gift that we give to other people. So this is my email. And if you want, you can always send me a little email and I will give you some lists of resources and some great books that we can recommend for people, some great self-care strategies that are other things that we recommend and help people with. And there's some wonderful free websites and apps that can help people in just being more mindful, more present, more relaxed in their day-to-day life. So feel free to email me if you want. All right, I'll give this back to Alicia.
Great. Does anybody have any questions? Give it just a minute in case anybody's typing in. Brian Belknap.
I just wanted to say I didn't know what to expect, and I really enjoyed that, and I feel like I could use that just in my current relationship. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, well, thank you everyone for coming and thank you for the presentation. It was great. And we'll see you guys next week on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you.